No role plays, no conference calls, no BS. Chris and Lorenzo share 4 decades of combined experience to help you become a more effective leader. This is Hacking Your Leadership.
Hey everyone, this is Chris with Hacking Your Leadership, and on today's discussion of employee engagement, we're going to be talking about the fact that the number 1, 2, or 3 reason, according to Deloitte's annual engagement survey of employees, number 1, 2, or 3 reason for the last 5 years that people leave their jobs is that they don't feel like their company invests in them. I think this is incredibly important. It moves back and forth between number 1, number 2, and number 3, and it is because people want to feel like they're getting more from their job than just a paycheck. I think it's important because when an employee is thinking about their job as just a means to make money, then it is much more likely that they're going to leave for another job doing the same thing for a competitor because they got offered 5% more, 10% more, 15% more money. What you want is for your employees to feel like they are getting something out of their job besides just the paycheck. And if all of the work that you're doing to invest in them is in order to get them to be a better employee, meaning to do whatever the skills of their job are that are needed to do the job for you or for your company, if that's where the investment is, then all they're going to look at is that you're not investing in them, you're investing in you and in your own company, because the better they are at doing their job, the more productive they can be for you. Employees want to feel like they're being invested in personally and professionally, not just for the things they can use in their job. And so I think this is a great topic to discuss when it comes to employee engagement, because again, it's the reason people leave jobs.
Yeah, no, I love this topic, and it's one of those situations where it's a feeling. Right. And sometimes
Sure.
we think about these ideas and these topics as like an investment. Well, if I invested my time as a leader, we invested in your training, we invested in some coaching or that type of thing. But does the person feel invested in? Does a person feel like this is just somebody doing what they're supposed to do as my leader? This is just somebody who's checking a box to say they've done these things? Or is there a genuine actual investment in my success, both here at work and maybe even personally? And I think that's some of the things that we're seeing a lot more of now is like people want to be, connected and committed to an organization's values, missions, and goals. They want to know there's professional development and career advancements. They want to be recognized for their efforts and achievements. Like there's a lot of things that will have someone feel like they're being invested in. But to be able to have that feeling happen as a leader, you really have to know what are those things that motivate people. What are the things that you are helping them connect dots on, that they see this as a true investment in their life and their growth versus just I'm doing this because you work here and these are things that I need you to do to get better, to do the job that you're getting paid for more efficiently. Like that is a part of having a job and taking a paycheck. Those are things that you should be doing. But
Right.
when it comes to the feeling of if I'm being invested in by my leader, it's very much a leadership thing that is a personal type of drive and connection.
Right. I'm reminded of a Richard Branson quote from probably 20 years ago now. He said, "Train people well enough so they can leave, treat them well enough so they don't want to." And this is the core kind of struggle I think a lot of leaders have. They think about this that are on the lines of, well, if I give my employees all of these skills that aren't just translatable to the job they're doing for me, but rather they're translatable to other jobs in other organizations, things that make them more marketable employees or more marketable people, then why wouldn't they just take that information and leave the organization? And you know what? They will if you don't treat them well enough so that they don't want to. And so investing in them is saying, I know this is important to you, and that it requires your trust in that they will take that information that you have given them and do right with it, which is, when I say do right with it, meaning they'll think, oh my gosh, I can't get this from anywhere else, so I want to stay here longer term. And you know what? Not all of them will. Some of them will take that information and they will leave and they'll go do that job better for another organization because they've they've been through a life of not being treated well by any leader, and so now you're doing it for the first time, and now they think, oh, okay, I got the upper hand here. I'm going to take this information and go, and that will happen to you. But over the long term, you will get more productive and more engaged employees by doing this, and it will be the few that leave. If you don't do this for employees, you'll get maybe less people that leave in the short term, but they won't do well for you while they're there, and you'll end up with a less productive and less engaged staff over time. Where I see this being done well is in organizations where you can get things like your company will pay for you to go to college. They'll do college reimbursement, or they will allow you to get Rosetta Stone or Duolingo to be able to learn a new language, and then they'll pay for it for you. At any time you can develop a skill that is specifically not translatable to just your job, but that is something that's going to help you be a more marketable person. If your company is paying for that for you, this is a good example of that. I think a lot of organizations have it on some level. Some organizations do it very well.
Yeah, and I think when you kind of boil that down to like a leadership, direct leadership standpoint, I think where I see this done well with leaders is when they connect with their teams and find out about their like personal and professional goals and things that they're looking to accomplish, things they're looking to achieve in their life. Sometimes pushing a little bit. Sometimes people are like, I'm just kind of like, I'm here doing my thing. I got to pay some bills. Like I'm, doing it, but digging deeper and getting beyond the surface to understand what are things going on that they, whether it's, a business they have, something they want to, like a passion point, they want to get a new car, they're looking to buy a home, they're looking to start a family, they want to get through school, anything at all that is something that is more about them progressing, growing, moving forward, and having some success in life, where you can tie that and say, hey, I hear that, and this is where I think the work that we do here can help you achieve those things, and following up, like that type of connection to someone's personal goals and achievements, that makes it a space where engagement looks and sounds very different when a leader steps into those spaces. I'm with you. Like I think a lot of organizations that offer these amazing benefits and things that I've taken advantage of as a leader and said, wow, like that's a big deal that a company would help to further and my education and help me with those types of things. Like I want to take advantage of that. I'm investing in myself. There's some value that the company will get for me to finish my college degree, but really this is about a me goal and an accomplishment that I want to do. And it makes me feel great. And I appreciate that. But when my leader says, hey, this is something that I know you're personally into and involved in and want to accomplish, have you considered or thought about how this work that we're doing will help you with that? I go, I like that. I feel like I'm getting investment from my organization and from my leader that's helping me to achieve something I want to achieve on my own.
Right. So I want to give some advice to leaders here. If you're listening to this show and you want to know how to move forward with this, when you don't necessarily have the resources to be able to implement a company-wide program that doesn't exist right now, but you still want to make an impact here, there's some things you can do. But first, I want to give it forward for one of our sponsors. All right, if you're a leader and you're trying to figure out how you can move the needle on this, but you can't necessarily, arbitrarily say, all right, we're going to start paying for college for everybody here because of the role that you're in. What this comes down to is knowing your people individually. If you think about the number of your employees that make money doing something other than what they do for you, whether it's a side hustle, it could be driving Uber, or it could be making things to sell online, or it could be consulting on something they're good at, or making music, whatever it is that they do, get to know what that is, because those are the things that the employees are passionate about. And if they've started figuring out a way to earn an income doing it, then every minute that they are at work for you is a minute away from that thing that they are passionate about. And so you're going to be struggling with how to keep them engaged while they're there, when in the back of their mind, they're thinking about, how do I get back to this? So if they can look at their time spent with you at work as a way to get better at that, because they want to be around you, they want the influence that you can give them to help them get better at that, then you will do more for them wanting to be there, or at least understanding that there's a value to being there besides just a paycheck, and not just waiting for the next time they can clock out and go back to what they like doing. Yeah,
I think it's great advice. And I also think that, when it comes to driving engagement, I think that leaders should also share. It's one of the things that more recently, over the last handful of years, that I've heard a lot from people that I've worked with, where they share like, wow, it's so inspiring to see you do these passion projects, the things that you're into, and share these things and talk about them and be excited about them, while also knowing that, maybe there's a little bit of overlap. I think like, okay, a leadership podcast and you're a leader, that makes a lot of sense. And it's very like tied in with what you do for a living. But a hip hop graphic novel, right? That really has nothing to do with what you do for a living, but it's cool to see that I do these things. And people have said to me, like, it's inspired me to want to go out and do my own things and share my passions and walk in to work and be proud to share some of the things that I'm doing, and know that that we're more than just people that work together, or that we're just like, we see each other in the jobs that we have, and we spend a lot of our time only talking about the work that we do here, but we're having conversations about passions and hobbies. And it's great to see a leader that's following their own. And I think that that's such a critical component to this. And that's a suggestion that I would have, is like, share yours as a leader. Share the things that you're doing, that you're looking to accomplish, the things that you're excited about, the things that you want to, get done in life. Share those with people so that they can also cheer you on and be a part of celebrating those things as you accomplish them. And I think that's really, really helpful in inspiring others, and also driving the engagement aspect, because you're going to have different conversations with your people.
Right. I agree. And at the very least, it humanizes you. It gives you, as a leader, it will help your people see you as more than just the person that comes in and talks about the numbers. If you are a multifaceted, multi-layered individual, that makes you more than just a leader. It makes you a human being, which is something your people need to be able to see you as. So as we wrap up this episode on employee engagement, are there any tools and resources that you think that might be beneficial to our listeners? We can post a description to, or a link to in the podcast?
There are a million that I love, but I'm going to plug this. This is a friend of the podcast, Heather Younger's book, The Art of Active Listening.
Yes.
Listening.
She's great, by the way.
She's amazing. Heather's amazing. I'm a huge fan. We're huge fans of Heather.
Yes.
And I talk about this book whenever I can, because when you're talking about truly just engagement in general, just not even at work, not even people that work for you, but just being an engaging person and being an active listener, this is such a critical part of building trust in a relationship and showing people that you care about what they're saying. People feel heard, they feel valued, they feel understood. These are just the most critical points of the recipe of creating great culture of engagement and trust. So we'll include a link to her book, The Art of Active Listening. So I would definitely tell you, check that book out. It's a fantastic read. It's great. It's to the point. And it's something that you can go back on and read over and over again, that I think will be helpful.
Awesome. Great discussion. I love this. Please come back next Thursday for another discussion on employee engagement. This is Hacking Your Leadership, and we'll talk to you all next time.